Welcome back, everybody. It's another episode of the Equity Accelerator. I'm your co-host, Chris Angel, here with your host, James Adair.
Chris, wow, what an intro. We need to work on that. It's good, though. I like the energy. Thanks for having me, as always.
We're reinventing it, James. We're reinventing our intro. We're playing with stuff.
That's right. We're going to talk about reinventing. It's something we were talking about a little earlier. Actually, I sent you a text because I was listening to an interview with one of my favorite rock bands of all time, the Canadian prog rock powerhouse Rush. And they were talking about their 40-year career. And it occurred to me how many times they've reinvented themselves creatively, 4 or 5 times. And they're just such an impressive group.
Yeah.
And I was thinking of my own business. Every time I have a big thought, I always try to graft it onto the mortgage business somehow.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I've probably reinvented my business. I started in 2003, very humbly. And I have probably reinvented my practice at least 3 times. And I really feel like I'm in the process of reinventing it completely again. Yeah. And it's really has everything to do with, the shift in the market. And my theory is the shift in the market is not what people think. People think it's, because rates are going up, that, the market's shifting. It's taking longer to sell houses. The market's shifting. Both of those things are true. But the real shift in the market, I don't think has anything to do with rates or time on market for realtors, et cetera. I think the real shift is in client behavior. It's in,
I love that.
It's in the way people are expecting to be dealt with.
Yep.
And it's through technology. Technology is changing the way people are behaving. And so my practice has to adapt to that. Yeah. I have to, for a couple of years, I was sending these video emails and I got tons of great feedback on them, and I don't get any feedback on them anymore. And in fact, I don't think anyone's looking at them anymore. And I think that aligns with a shift to the whole thing is happening on a phone now. The whole thing. People are on the internet on their phone, not on their laptops or their work desktop computers. I think even 3 years ago, a lot of the mortgage process happened in the margins of people's workday on their work computer. And now it's happening on a mobile phone. And those little video emails just don't work. You're driving your car, you're in the middle of, you're in the middle of something else. You're not going to sit there and stop, click on a video, plug in your earbuds and listen to me talk about, hey, we just sorted the appraisal and here's what this means, right? I just don't think people are consuming the information that way anymore.
Yeah, it's interesting. I love that because I think, let's say that again.
So I'm having to rethink it.
Oh, yeah. I think so. And I think a lot of people, I've noticed this with technology, a lot of people can just complain about it, like, Zillow this and Zillow that, and, it's eating my lunch or whatever. But I think in some ways, like, if you pay attention to, don't worry about the enemy or whatever it is, right? But pay attention to the appetite of the consumer and start to see, how do I come alongside of that? You may not be able to create some app as good as Zillow, for example. We're using Zillow in this moment as an example, but how can you align with the appetite of the consumer?
Yeah,
that's always technology, but
that's the big question right now. And so I'm always just trying to imagine, what would you do? What would you do if you had to buy a house right now? What would you do if you had to get a mortgage right now? Who would you call and why?
Why?
And what would you expect? Right?
Yeah.
Like it's, we get so entrenched in our ways and, we feel like we know, exactly what to do, but the pace of change is constant. So we have to check in every so often and reimagine our client experience, reimagine our clients' motivations, right? And so that's what, and then one of the biggest things I'm doing is I am investing in some technology. I'm doing this podcast. Obviously, I'm hoping this will be a way to connect with people on a deeper level. on their terms over time. I'm hoping this content will be relevant for months and months and years. That's why I never really I'm not that interested in talking about interest rates or specific market dynamics, because I want this to be meaningful for a long, long time.
I tell people I have some real estate clients that will use this service of podcasting, right? Or mortgage people. And I'm like, look, rates and market stats, that's not good content. Like, it's not good content. People don't want to consume that content. You
right.
you talk about stuff that people want to talk about or they want to listen to. Right.
Yeah. So
absolutely.
So one of the things that I'm putting a lot of thought into is the window of where the transaction happens is shrinking. It's getting easier and faster to do the transaction.
Yeah.
And it's also getting easier for giant banks and giant mobile apps to execute in a way that is fine. They can close a mortgage now. So a couple of years ago, that wasn't true. And now it is true.
Wow.
So what does that mean for me, right? Yeah. That's no longer a competitive advantage for me to say, hey, well, I'm here locally and I can close this transaction and you can count on it, right? Yeah. That doesn't matter anymore.
Right. Yeah. It's really good. It's good because I see a lot of people trying to compete on that still. They're still saying like, we're really good at customer service when an app just got it done in like a day and you're like you got to reinvent what you're saying to people. Don't use the stuff from, 20 years ago. You need to reinvent.
I mean, service is, the idea of service, I think is way too soft. You have to show them value. You have to show them how working with you is going to actually save them time, save them money, and create community. I mean, all these things that you can do that an app can't do. We have to become more. Right. I mean, the one thing we can do is be a human, right? Right. That's the one thing a robot cannot do.
Yeah. And I think speaking of consumer appetite, I think that's where it's going. I think people are wanting connection. And so while they may use technology, I love using Uber when I'm traveling and I'll just grab an Uber somewhere because that's so easy, right? But I still want connection. So the consumer may use technology for certain things, but as humans, we're still going to gravitate back to connection, I think.
I saw a future. I went to an event in October of 2018 for whenever you're listening to this. Yeah, and it was a big mortgage conference. And the first speaker was this guy. Actually, he's a Portland area guy. His name's Steve Brown, the bald futurist.
Steve Brown, if you're listening to this, we want you on the show.
Shout out to Steve Brown. We should get you onto the show for sure as a guest. But he, people bring him in as a speaker to imagine the future of any industry, really. I mean, that's his gig. And he says a futurist is funny. He said a futurist, it's bad practice for a futurist to actually make a prediction, right?
Oh yeah.
But so it's interesting. So he's more just like imagining what's going to be important, what's going to be influential. And he said the two areas of technology that are really going to be the most impactful for the mortgage space, he thinks, are artificial intelligence and blockchain technology, which is like cryptocurrencies and stuff like that. And he said, because, and he explained blockchain in a way that I, for the first time, was like, oh, now I kind of have a sense of what blockchain is. He described it as a verification engine. It's a way to digitally verify the truth of something on the internet.
Nice.
And he said, there will be a way in the future where someone can drive up to a house that's for sale, pull out their phone, press a button. It verifies their credit. It verifies their employment. It verifies their income immediately. And it verifies their assets immediately. And it actually could even exchange. It could transact.
Title.
It could transact immediately. The technology exists now to do it in a minute.
Wow.
So then, then the problem is like, well, now that you can do it in a minute, who do you talk to about what you should do? Right. And I just imagine like a child, like accidentally pressing it and like, no, undo, take it back.
On dad's phone, on mom's phone.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think that the future of my industry, the future of real estate is really in the strategic partnership, in the advice, right? And really showing people the value of the advice over time. And I use technology to, it's great. You can plug them into these really high powered, basically spreadsheets, and it shows them, hey, if you did option A, here's the outcome after 10 years versus B versus C. And it just says option C is the one that makes you the most money in the first 5 years, but then it becomes more expensive later. So there's all kinds of ways to use technology to help people make empowered decisions.
There you go.
And then the software will say, hey, this decision that you may have thought wasn't a big deal actually can create $50,000 of benefit for you in the next 10 years.
Yeah. I feel like what you do as a fiduciary working alongside of somebody, instead of using just the tool, like you're bringing interpretation, you're bringing perspective, you're bringing reasoning that you don't get that with technology, at least not now, until Watson is like, I don't know, some type of, AI in everybody's phone and can speak about it.
Yeah, that's the other side of it. But I just think and I've got a lot of experience now. I mean, I've bought and sold a bunch of houses. I've invested. And so I draw from that a lot when I talk to people about, hey, I've got a client who's buying their second house. Yeah. Right. They've already bought a house. They've lived there for a while. Now they want to buy the next house. And they're like, and this is a really common conversation that I have with people in this situation. How do I buy this next house without selling the first house? How do I retain the first house and buy the second one and lever up and then have two houses, right? And turn the first one into a rental. Yep. And he was like, what's the downside? And I don't know that artificial intelligence would be able to really
That's great.
draw on, if you're putting, you're doing a first and a second mortgage on the new house, there's a premium that comes along with that. It equals X dollars. Yep. Right.
Yeah. I love
then
that.
we also drilled in and realized that the biggest downside is tax related, right? If you turn your home into a rental, you're on the clock there. You should talk to an accountant. I'm not a CPA. This is not tax advice. But it changes the tax implications of the profits that are embedded in that property. So, and they were super smart professional people, and they were completely, and to me, seems like, I grew up in a real estate family. I've been doing this for a long time. This seems real basic, but for them, they were just like, oh, thank you for telling us that. Right. Anyway. So, that's all. Yeah. No, it's drawing on my own experience to help people, I think, is really powerful. And I say, look, I did this before and I wish I had done it that way and I didn't, but here's what happened to me. Yeah. And here's just take this for your own self. Right.
I think it's really important as technology continues to evolve and get in the middle of the transaction, regardless of your industry, for you to continue to raise your vision above the technology, to look at the implications. Like you're saying right now, like drawing on your experience, people are still going to want to have the human perspective of like, well, what do you suggest? And people don't know what they don't know. So like, you can't ask technology the question you don't know to ask. Right. And so this is why you want a guide or an advocate or a fiduciary on your side to help you ask the questions you don't know to ask. And all of that goes back to the main point of this, which is you've got to start reinventing yourself, right? And doing it in a way that is relevant to what the consumer wants.
I'm probably going to make 10 times more actual phone calls this year than I've made in years. Wow. I've been relying way too much on emails and automated templated emails that go out at different trigger points during the process. Yeah. I think that's
a gem right there.
That's not going to cut it anymore. And so, I need to just talk to people more frequently. Yeah. And also the home buyers playbook thing, which is just like the opposite of tech. It's just like the most old school. It's like a book that I print out and fill with business cards. Like that's another part of the reinvention. Yeah. Those two things are just like the super old school, like more phone calls, more belly to belly, more tangible value for people
Yeah.
is really where I'm going to get people's attention and hopefully create an experience for them that I want to get more referrals. Oh my God, you got to talk to James because of this, or like, wow, I'll just be on their mind more. Right.
Yep. Totally. Speaking of your buyer's playbook, those of you listening to this, if you want to partner with James, and hear more about how you can benefit from his buyer's playbook, do you have it right there?
I do.
Show and tell. Oh yes. I love it. I love a shiny object. It's so good. But,
got colorful tabs.
Yeah, no, I know. I mean, that's like real valuable swag right there. I like it. It's like the real deal. And I know that you work with particular industries. Give them that book to pass along, right? To buyers and sellers.
Well, it's really for me to partner with real estate agents. And what we do is we use the book. It's a 55-page full color guide of pre-approval to mortgage pre-approval to home selection, negotiating, closing, and then post-closing. It's like,
nice.
It's the transactions in the middle and all the, sides on, 2-3 stages on each side of the transaction. So it's really inherently valuable for a buyer, even if they're not a first-time buyer, to have this to reflect on.
Yeah.
And to understand exactly what's happening.
Wow.
But
awesome.
The real value is in using the book to feature your preferred business partners beyond the real estate transaction. So, of course, a realtor is really good at referring a home inspector and a lender, maybe a title company, that kind of thing. But beyond that, they're not usually that strong at referring out tons of other businesses. A lot of them may have like a resource link on their website,
right?
That not many people go to, maybe has 3 or 4 versions of every industry. But this book is designed to go to a realtor and say, hey, look, take this book. Let's put together a list of your top 25 business partners, financial advisors, accountants. It doesn't even have to be real estate related. It can be a personal chef. It can be a personal trainer. It can be it can be it could be an attorney. It can be landscaping, architect, whatever. Take a meeting with them, get them on the phone. Here we are again, old school, picking up the phone. We're talking to them. Hey, I want to come by your office if you have 5 minutes. This won't take long. You show them the book. You show them, they're like, wow, this book is great. And you say, hey, my plan is to give out 200 of these books this year. And I want to feature your business in there to these 200 people that I'm going to be doing business with.
Wow.
And all I ask in return is that if you think of mortgage, if you think of real estate, or if you hear anyone in your community talk about real estate, that you think of me immediately, you call me, right? So it's just a way to formalize these relationships you already have and leverage them to point opportunities back to you, right? I mean, everyone who's been in the business for a little while knows 20 people who would love to refer them. They just haven't been kind of activated or trained.
Right.
And also haven't been shown the value of like, hey, I'm actually promoting your business. Right. Look at this book. So that's part of the reinvention as well, is like really just formalizing these natural, casual relationships that we all already have.
Yeah. I love it. So powerful. Well, if you guys listening to this are a real estate agent and you want to connect with James, what's the best way for them to connect with you?
As always, pdxhomeloan.com. We're the PDX Home Loan team at Sierra Pacific Mortgage. My name, James, at pdxhomeloan.com is an email. Just Google it and my phone number will show up.
I love it. And I guess I should say too, if you are a homeowner or a potential buyer of a home and you want to work with somebody like James, who kind of understands the whole picture of what's happening here, where mortgage people fit in the space with technology and how it all matches, like you should.
Chris, I got to tell you, it's the active equity management for real estate isn't even just for transaction people. If you are listening to this and you own a home and you want me to take a look at your mortgage, email me. We'll talk. All I have to do is just put it.
Wow.
I have a few questions for you. Just send me a copy of your mortgage statement. I'll put it in my software. I'll show you exactly where you stand, exactly how much equity you have. If there's any opportunities to save money, I'll show them to you. If not, then high five. You're in the best position you could be in. and off you go. That's all there is to it.
So good. Wow. So good. I love that. And same thing, they can go to pdxhomeloan.com.
pdxhomeloan.com. That's right.
Okay. Awesome. Good stuff. James, so good. So good. I love it. High five. Love it. Thanks, man.
So good.
Thanks for
like Sweet Caroline.
Thanks for a great episode. Until next time, take care and be well. See ya.
All right. Bye, Chris.